Okay there. Hi out there in PTZ land. How's it? I want to welcome you and really excited to be able to show you all out there. That first of all, we're live from the NABC, which is now also the the Northwoods Ecology Hall. NEH. I'm messing up, ain't I? Well, that's okay, though. But, today I'm really excited to be able to show you guys the progress that we've got going with the Northwoods Ecology Hall. Even though it's a tongue twister for me at times, I like to have a little bit of fun with it. I'm hoping everybody can hear me out there. But I've got three really neat guests I'm going to have on today, and they're going to be talking about the Northwoods Ecology Hall, and we're going to have a little fun. But first of all, I want to say I'm really glad to be back and be able to see all you guys out there, and thanks so much for taking the time to come and view this wonderful display that we've got going here. As you can see, they're working on it. But right now, I'm going to invite my good friend and our founder and my mentor, Dr. Lynn Rogers. He's coming in right now. I can see him. He's coming. He's on his way, and he's got a great big grin. Hey, Lynn. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. And especially good because we're talking to Lily fans.
Okay.
And what I'm excited about is we got these guys because they're the guys that go around the country setting up field and stream stores, Cabela stores, all that habitat and taxidermy in there.
Okay.
They know all the tricks.
Yeah.
And so we got them right here to make a first-class place for us.
Okay.
And I see that they got the mountain lion there just about ready to put up in place.
That's cool.
There's a fox lying outside of its den hole.
Fox right over there if you want to pan over there. And, you can take a look at that fox. You'll see Ryan's over there with the fox.
Yep, that's Ryan. Peter is over here. He's painting. He's painting lichens.
We got to slow down just a bit because I know the camera's a little slow on you and I, just like we're getting slower as we get older. We get going sometimes and we talk a little bit fast, and every now and then my lips bang together at the wrong moment. But who's this up here right now?
That's Peter Johnson.
Peter Johnson.
He and Ryan are the co-owners of Elite what?
Why don't you add into that, Peter? Elite what?
Wildlife Studio.
Elite Wildlife Studio.
That's what I was going to say, but I thought it's more the wildlife. It's habitat.
Yeah. That looks like a rock to me. I'm not really thinking that's wildlife. But, as they're working hard, they've been working on this about how long now, would you say?
Well, actually, they started in the fall collecting stuff from the woods to be part of this, and then they really started a little ways into January putting it together.
Okay. And we also had the base done quite a while back.
Oh, yeah, Randy Harrell.
Yeah.
Created this beautiful base to go with all the other decor.
Yeah. And in just a few minutes, we're going to be asking Lynn a couple more questions because we're going to take you back. We're going to do almost a 180 and go behind and see the trees that they're making out of some stuff you will not believe. We'll have Peter and Ryan come and be guests of ours in just a minute and kind of explain some of the things that they're doing. But right now I want to ask you, as far as the growth of the Northwoods Ecology Hall goes, what do you see next happening?
Well, I hope my old brain can work good.
Just a minute.
Yep. There you go. Well, okay, he turned it on. He knows the button. And so, I got to think of words.
Okay.
But the nice thing is, there's dozens of people across the country thinking of words with me.
That's right. And I think what he's starting to think about right now is some of the things that we've got cooking with the Northwoods Ecology Hall, with the touch screens, the aquarium that's going to be going up, the terrariums, the Aurora scene.
Yeah, the aquarium, right? And well, like the people across the country, they're the ones that are working to create the, species accounts.
Okay.
To have, some of them will be like on here, some of them will be in the touchscreen thing, most of them will be in the touchscreen things. And then, then you mentioned the Aurora thing.
Yeah.
Heidi Pinkerton and Dr. Bob Konzemius, a top meteorologist, are working together to create, she's a photographer, he's a meteorologist, and so to create a really good aurora exhibit for us.
Okay.
Because that's one of the things people like with the dark skies here.
Okay, now the aurora, what is that in my terms? What's that called?
Oh, I started calling it aurora because they did, but I always called it northern lights.
Oh, northern lights. Okay, there you go. They've got a lot of names for stuff. I learned one just today, in fact. And I got to tell you guys out there in PTZ land, all the Lily fans, that dirt hill right there with the grass head on it that looks like it's from Gilligan's Island, to me right at this point, is actually called, the scientific name is what, Ryan?
Glacial moraine.
A glacial moraine. I wonder if they've ever thought about having anything like that at Dairy Queen in a blizzard.
Well,
Sounds kind of good, don't it?
Well, I'd like to order a glacial moraine.
Yes, that would be pretty good. And Peter, these rocks here, these rocks that are just, if you can zoom over to that rock right there, that big boulder, do you see it right back there, everybody?
Oh, yeah.
That is a glacial erratic. It's not a rock. So whenever you're walking out there and you see a boulder just sitting up on a wooden pedestal, it's a glacier moratic. Right?
Erratic.
Well, I thought it was moratic acid.
But people that don't live in glacier country might not be familiar with some of these words.
Can you explain that?
And that is it's something that got carried by a glacier, I don't know how many miles, and when it melted, it dropped it there on the surface of the ground, just a big boulder sitting there in the middle of nowhere.
So out of curiosity, why didn't they just call it boulder dropped out of glacier?
Well, if they would have talked to us, they would have named it that.
But I know they got a lot of pretty neat names for stuff. I think if it's okay with you, we're going to invite Peter and Ryan to come over here real quick and just kind of introduce them to the PTZ group out there. We're going to let all you meet them and talk a little bit about what they're doing. And maybe they'd be kind enough to grab one of those foam blocks that I don't see that they've got ready. That started that wall right there, that beautiful rock wall.
Well, I wonder, I don't know, just as a test of strength,
Go for it.
It'd be kind of funny to see if Peter and Ryan could lift that rock.
Would that be possible, Ryan? Could you lift that rock?
Not alone,
Okay.
but a real rock like that would probably weigh a ton or more.
How much?
About at least a ton.
A ton.
2,000
Come on over here real close.
Well, do you think that, would you guys, whoa.
Okay, Peter, come out here right in front. As you folks can see there, Peter he is strong, but not quite that strong. Now, maybe you guys could explain.
To show them the back.
Yeah. Up in the air, lift it, so they can see you. There you go. There you go.
Hollow?
Yep.
It's what?
It's hollow, and what is it made out of?
Well, this is made out of, so there's an armature made out of chicken wire, and then over the chicken wire we do a plaster burlap. So it kind of firms it up and it gives us a framework to work on. And then we use a mix, putty that we create our rock texture on top with, and then we paint it with different techniques and sponges and brushes and all kinds of different methods.
Yeah, I mean, a person would have to ask. I mean, I asked about the rock over there that you got built into the moraine. I had to ask you if that was real.
And it is not.
What's that?
It is not. It's the same as this.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, folks, it's really amazing out there when you take a look at this stuff. Yeah, that you don't. I mean, it does look real. Every time I come in here, I think I'm making their heads expand more and more because I'm just saying, "Wow, what a great job! That looks awesome."
Well, that's the goal.
Ryan, why don't you explain this? This is a piece of foam that's rough and a little bit jagged on the edges. Tell them what that is.
This is a piece of expanding foam that comes out of a mold off of a granite face or any kind of rock, actually. And they come in sheets. We break them into pieces, and then we create a armature in the back to screw them to.
Armature? A frame?
A frame, armature, whatever.
Okay.
Whatever, you can do anything you want.
All right.
Then we screw them in all different kind of
contortions and everything. We fix the seams so that they blend together, and the goal is to get a large rock face that looks...
So you guys are saying that this piece here turned into that rock right there. I guess now I've got the microphone turned up too high. I fixed it out there, and I guess now it's even worse. But if you take a look over here again, pan over to that wall. We'll wait just a second for the camera to do that. Okay, I think I see the camera moving. That styrofoam piece that they just showed you turned into that rock wall right there. Pretty impressive, don't you think? And then they paint it, correct, guys?
Yep.
Why don't you go up there and just point that out as we got you panned up there, Peter, what you do. Sure. I'm going to walk over here, and Lynn and I can go over with him.
So it starts off as... Yeah. It starts off as that yellow kind of foam. And then once all the seams are joined, it needs to be primed, so it's all one color. So we start off with a gray, and then we go over it with washes. So we do different browns and blues, and we don't want them to be too bright. Right now it is pretty bright. Our lichens are jumping out because I got to go over these again with a wash to tone them all down. But there's layers of paint on here and different thicknesses of paint. So some are really thick and gloppy, some are transparent. So you've got all these different opacities going on, and
so every one of those spots you put on there?
Yeah, every one of these spots is put on by hand. These are all, we're trying to do different kinds of lichens. Some of the, is it crusticose and foliacose, and the different textures. So when you're standing just a few feet away, you can see the different textures of the lichens.
Okay.
And right now they do need some toning, but they're close to what they'll look like.
Sure looks pretty neat. And now what we're going to do is we're going to ask the PTZ to pan over to this side right over here, and we're going to look at the dirt hill, or what do we call that?
A glacial moraine.
Okay, and we're going to ask Ryan about the glacial moraine. And Lynn, do you have any questions on the glacial moraine for Ryan?
Oh, boy.
On how we built it?
Yeah, okay, yeah. Well, I saw them build it, so I can even say how they built it.
Okay.
But I should leave that to Ryan.
Yes, and we're going to let Ryan describe that to you as Lynn and I step back. I'm hoping the camera's panned over here right now. I think it is. I can see you. I'm going to give the microphone to Ryan.
Okay. Basically, we start out with a frame structure underneath, some kind of supports that start out low and gradually work up to whatever incline we desire or want. Then next, chicken wire is spread over and stapled to give it structural support and something to attach the dirt and the burlap to. Burlap is then laid out over the chicken wire and stapled down to give a surface for what we use for the dirt, which is a two-part foam mixture that is used in seat cushions and things like that, so it's very flexible yet strong. And then we also mix dirt, sand, any type of natural dirt or structure that's out there into it, and basically spread it over the entire piece to give a dirt effect, so it looks like just a big dirt pile. Next we take what's called raffia. It is it's a natural product but used in all sorts of different things. We build bundles of it and individually insert it throughout the piece to give a grassy, matted down spring look, with some green sprigs inside to show, growth and the season that we're going for. Other individual plants to the area that are familiar with the area to give it a little diversity. Then we place our rocks, things like that in there to give it more effect, and just keep adding until we're happy with what we have.
I see we got the fox here too, huh?
Yes, the fox is there. We have a fox den built in with rocks. It's totally 3D, goes back in there. It doesn't just stop, so it looks real. The fox is there to make sure everybody understands that that's what that is. Okay. With some willows and sprigs and things throughout. But there will still be much more added to this: trees, different diversities of trees, gravel, a mountain lion above. We're going to be working on that here soon, and
That's pretty cool.
so that's kind of how that's made.
Alrighty. We're going to have Lynn talk for just a second here. He's got something to say. Lynn, did you have something to say on this?
Yeah, well, see, the thing is, these guys, they've spent a lot of time in the woods, and as you talk to them, and they went to college, took wildlife courses and stuff, and so I've just been impressed with their knowledge of the woods, the wildlife here, the fish, everything, and because actually their top specialty is mounting fish. So, but they know so much, and that's true also for Maureen O'Brien, who is painting the mural, the background mural.
PTZ can pan up there and look at that mural that's being painted behind here.
She's the one that painted our other mural, the one on the Cub Room, and she did such a good job. We wanted her back. And she's doing it again.
And that's going to blend into the scenery, correct?
Yes.
A
lot of this won't be seen because it's going to be just an extension of the forest that's in front of it. What they're planned is they start with spring, and then they go through the seasons, and they'll end up with the rock thing over here covered with snow because that gets into winter. And we'll have different kinds of taxidermy that'll go in the different sections, like a white snowshoe hare will go in the winter scene, a brown one will go into the summer scene. And it's and the lighting is all going to be different. It starts with open country and graduates into mature forest. And we'll later talk about amazing that they make these white pines that are going to look natural. I forgot what else I was going to say.
I'm so glad when he forgets what he's going to say, because then I get a moment to take a breath and we can actually go on to the next subject. He knows what he was going to say. Let's let him say it.
Okay. Now, you see how dark this is right here? You see how dark this is right here? We got to do a lot of work with lighting yet. To make sure that everything is lit. Like this fox will have a spotlight on it. The mountain lion up on top there will have a light on it. That'll be actually the first thing people see when they look over this way. It'll be a clear line of sight from the archway coming in to the mountain lion up there.
That's going to look nice.
And so I can't wait to see what they do with stuff, because these guys are used to doing this. They come up with ideas I would have never thought of.
No, I would have never imagined it would turn out like, as it's turning out more and more, it's looking unbelievable.
Yeah, and the interesting thing was, these guys started out, Peter came over, gave us about a 2-hour talk on how we could do this. They weren't trying to get a job out of us, they were trying to help us. So
I think they were trying to mess us up so that they figured out we couldn't do it. But I'm just kidding, these two guys.
Actually, and so as a result, our budget is bigger now. We want to be, our budget is bigger now than we anticipated, but we saw that we just could not do it ourselves. We had to have pros do it.
That's right, and boy, I'll tell you what, how exciting. Every day you come in here, you come running back to look to see what they've done the night before, because I know they all have put some late nights in here too. Working, because I hear them talk about how they're going to work until a certain thing is done.
Yeah, well, they got to hurry because they got other customers waiting.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point too. In here, I thought we were the only ones.
Yeah.
Right? So what we're going to do right now is we're going to ask for your patience, and I'm going to take and turn the camera around. It's going to go 180 degrees. The PTZ does not have to be moved. I'm going to move that, and then we'll end up behind the scene that we're looking at. We're going to show you some amazing white pines, and I'm going to have them describe how they made those white pines, and you're not going to believe what you hear. So we're going to just walk here and take a minute.
So we can see better.
I'm going to move the camera, okay? Hey, Peter? Hey, Peter? Could you move that? I just need to put that there. Okay. I know you can still hear me out there. I'm coming around here. We turned the camera. I'm sorry about the bumping and bouncing and hearing the microphone and everything else. We're working on getting a little bit more up to date, but as you can see, Dr. Rogers, if you want to come up here, we're amongst the trees right now. I'm standing in front of Lynn, and these trees, I mean, they blow me away. We've got one of the tree trunk artists right up here. Wave out there to everybody.
Hello.
And she is putting lichen on there, right?
Yes, I am trying to make it as natural as you would see in the woods.
And I'm amazed, aren't you?
Yeah, and these branches are real.
Branches are real. I hope everybody out there can see us. I'm going to invite again Ryan and Peter over here, and I'm going to have these two guys together fight over who wants to explain about these trees, and I'm going to move them together, and they're going to talk about this.
Okay. Well, the trees start off. We don't want to use a real tree because of the more artificial product you have, the longer it's going to last. I would love to have a real white pine trunk up there. I think that would look awesome, but it would weigh.
Lynn would fire us.
Lynn would fire us. It would weigh 600 pounds. It would eventually degrade and fall apart. So we got to make them. So we start off with a big hollow tube like this, the sonotubing for concrete. We build a frame on the inside out of wood so they can stand like they are and not fall over. Then they get a few layers of this poultry netting or chicken wire wrapped around them, and that's to give the sculpting material some tooth. So then we spread our sculpting material over the top, which is just shredded recycled newspaper and some Durabond, which is used for drywall. So that gets spread over the surface. Then we sit and we just tool our bark patterns in.
So you're saying that every one of these grooves,
yeah,
you've tooled in there?
Yeah, those were all done by hand.
Wow.
And so now we're just starting to add our artificial lichens to it, the little flakes that won't come off. We will go back over the lichens again and give them some more toning, but we will be adding real preserved old man's beard and some larger lichens over the top at the end.
Okay.
Yep. And this is something that, these. Yes. Yep. We'll be adding some of the larger bushier ones on there to give it a more full look.
Okay. That's good. That's really neat. And the more you look at these trees, they just amaze me. And I think this is you guys. Is this your first attempt at actually making trees like this?
This size, yeah.
This size tree.
This material we've used for the last few years.
I can't imagine what they're going to look like when you get good, because they're really nice now. And what did you guys call that little furry stuff there?
Well, there will foliose lichen. Is it Evernia?
Oh, an Evernia, foliose lichen.
Fluffy one.
Wow, you guys are geeks.
You said it before I did.
No. You're I'm just kidding. You're having fun with these guys. I mean, they're
over there.
You did.
Talking about crustos, folios, all that stuff.
What? About what?
He was talking about different kinds of lichens, crustos, folios, and I see they're putting them both on the tree.
There's so many kinds that
they really have a tendency to make you and I seem simple, don't they, Ryan?
I like simple.
I do too. I'm looking at it. I'm glad somebody knows about that.
That's right.
I'm just trying to wonder who sat there and decided what they were going to call that stuff. But anyway, Lynn, you got anything you want to add to the awesomeness of these trees?
I wouldn't know all about lichens, except that I used to walk with deer.
Okay.
And deer ate them. It was a main winter food, and people did not know that until we could walk with a deer and watch what it ate.
No kidding.
Because the previous way that they learned what deer eat in the winter was to follow a trail in the snow and see what twigs were snipped off.
Okay.
Were bitten off. And then when they get to where they go around a down balsam tree and clean it off, clean all the lichens off of it, they had no idea how to quantify that. And so that just was not in the papers.
Unbelievable. I would have never guessed that, would you have?
Not me.
It's like they're having a lichen salad.
Yeah.
And I knew
Pretty
that. I
Yeah.
knew that because of.
Because of
Yeah.
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 So you guys sit and get together and talk about lichens?
No.
So, I actually what we did in the old days, we got the lichen expert of probably North America
Okay.
to come walk with deer with us and give us his book,
That's really neat.
teach us what we needed to know.
Wow.
And you can't do better than that.
I'll tell you what, I think what it really was, they got to really start to liken each other. And then they studied and came up with all this stuff. I mean, they are two knowledgeable guys, wouldn't you say?
Very much. Very
But
much.
from a simple point of view, the branches in the trees, I mean, they look really real.
Yeah.
I mean, even though we know the branches are real, they look like they were there.
Yeah, in the fall, Peter and Ryan were out collecting stuff from the forest
Okay.
that they knew they'd be plugging into these things. They were seeing ahead. We would have never been able to do that.
No. It's just, wow, amazing. I'm going to ask Ryan here, I'm going to ask PTZ again to go right over this way with the camera, and you're going to see a bunch of trees laying on the ground there. We hope you can see those tree branches. If you would just pan over that way, and we're going to ask Ryan and Peter again to explain that. I'm going to give them the microphone, and they can explain why these branches and trees are laying here.
Let me get on this side.
Okay, we're going to adjust here.
Ultimately, Lynn's concern
Yep.
with this whole project was to look, excuse me, as real as this area is. So obviously we have to incorporate things that are in the area.
Right.
So we went out and collected real branches that we then brought in, and well, I shouldn't say branches, but trees, smaller trees, to incorporate into the scene that we then preserved with a special preservation method. And we will then go in and we purchased artificial branches and leaves that will be put onto these to make them coexist with the scenes that they will be in, summer, fall, winter, whatever.
Okay.
And then that will give everybody a better feel of what it's like to be in the woods in northeast Minnesota.
So this is the stuff that's on the trunk of this. The main branches, that's all real lichen, right?
Yep.
Yeah, different names, I'm sure, of different things on there.
And yeah, our alders will have catkins on them, so these
Okay.
will be more in the spring.
All right.
Spring look.
Some will have flowers,
We have
some
a
will
lot more
have
here
green
than we
leaves.
need too.
Okay, yeah.
We won't be using all of this.
But if you take a look at this tree and trunk, it looks, when you look at the design on these, it really tends to look natural. This does, that you've done compared to the real stuff.
Yeah, those aren't done yet either.
Right, but I mean, it's just unbelievable. Anything else you guys can add to the display and maybe give an idea what's next?
Well, once the mural is finished,
Yeah.
because she needs her space to get in and do her thing, there will be a beaver pond and a beaver dam added to the summer scene, right off the spring scene. Then a large flatter hill will be added where animals will be put, and that's where we'll incorporate a lot of the birches, the popples, and the other trees that we've collected here.
Okay.
That'll flow into more of a mature forest, like Lynn said, into these large white pines and snow and all that kind of stuff. So we're just waiting for the great mural to be done, and then we can start rocking and rolling on other stuff.
Alrighty, we've got a pretty good idea of what's going on here right now, and there's some exciting things that we're going to be heading into. We thank both you guys for being involved in this. Sorry to take you away from your job. We're going to let them get back to work, and I'm just going to ask Lynn a couple more questions. I guess one of the questions I'd like to ask Lynn is, as we're standing here, is the future of the Northwoods Ecology Hall and how it's turning out. You seem pretty excited about it. How do you feel?
Actually, it's better than I originally envisioned.
Yeah.
People come up with ideas. You find that there's expertise among us that we weren't aware of. Like, I was not going to have an aquarium. Too much work, too much upkeep. Our skeleton staff is already stretched thin. And But Scott here said, oh, we got to have an aquarium. I've always had aquarium. I know how to take care of aquariums. You just have to have a filtration system. You don't have to clean them all the time and empty them. I wondered what we do with the fish when we emptied it to clean it.
Right.
And I said, where are we going to get the water? He says, well, there's a sink just on the other side of this wall. We'll just bring pipes through the wall.
That's right.
And he says, I've had aquariums all my life. I know all the equipment you have to get. I can handle it. Turned it over to Scott. So it ended up, well, we're going to have a 4-foot aquarium with little fish. Then it got to be a 6-foot and an 8-foot. Finally, he ordered a 10-foot wide one with bigger fish.
That is true. And that was Lynn's fault, because I always know he likes things bigger.
Yeah.
You know, and he also on the terrarium side, I know Judy and you worked hard on that area.
Yeah.
And they've got me to order the terrariums. They're not passing the buck to me to take care of them, though. I told Judy that earlier. I said, that's your deal. And, you know, but we got 3 terrariums that are going to be, 4 feet long each.
Yes.
And they started out 3 feet.
With an open front.
With an open front, and so you can reach in.
It can be open. It'll swing down.
Yes, it will. Yep.
So that bear educators, which we're going to need more of, bear educators can be in here working with the kids and saying, you want to hold a snake, you want to hold a turtle, you want to hold a toad, and kids from the inner city will be here, and the idea, the whole thing is just so that people understand and appreciate all the wonders of the Northwoods better than would otherwise be possible.
How many species of birds are you thinking we're going to have in here eventually, or that we're going to talk about?
Birds are hard to get.
Okay.
Peter and Ryan do have 19 so far.
Okay.
We've got another dozen or so that people have turned in that hit their windows or dead on the highway or something. And we're going to have a specialist bird taxidermist come in. Instead of paying him by the specimen, we'll pay him by the hour to just crank a bunch out. It's the cheapest way we can go, and he is the specialist.
Another specialist.
So it's, we're just, I mean, things come together. That's how it goes. I mean, you know, I've actually envisioned something like this for the last 20 years. Since we originally were going to have the Boundary Waters Ecology Center as a separate center from the North American Bear Center. But then the North American Bear Center is the one that we were able to build first.
Yep.
And then we had the opportunity to add on to it. In fact, we built it so that there was room and everything was arranged for adding on in this direction. And then, well, boy, there was a chance to have the Ecology Center. So far, our focus has been mostly on bear-human relations.
Yeah.
Now we're going to expand to the next chapter, bear-other animal relations.
That is really neat. And while we're on the subject of the bears, maybe we want to update them on what's going out there right now with Holly, Lucky, Honey, and Ted. Just to give you a little update, they've been sleeping pretty doggone good. What you say this year?
Yeah,
they've been resting. They come out every now and then, get some snow, take a little nip at the snow to get some moisture, which is normal.
I don't know if Holly's been doing that.
Haven't seen no tracks.
But actually, there's snow blows into her shallow den.
Okay.
So all she has to do is reach her tongue out.
She does. But I haven't seen no tracks of her being out there. They're just all seem to be really content this year. And we've had I'd say a warmer winter this year for the last probably week now. It's been warm again.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Yeah, but it started out cold, and then it got warm,
yes,
and then a little bit cold, and they're just doing really nice out there. We want to let you know on that too.
Yes.
But we just want to also say that none of this would be possible if it wouldn't be for the people out there that have helped us out. And I know you want to say thanks to the Lily fans. And
thank you. I always am thinking thank you. Every time I talk to Lily fans, I'm thinking thank you.
Yes, and I know there's many other fans out there we need to thank also. This would not be possible if it wasn't for you and for the donations that we get. And we want to just say thanks for digging in, thanks for helping out. We thank our moderators, our pond chatters, everybody out there, right? Am I missing somebody?
Well, it's hard to say them all because there's 178 volunteers.
Oh, plus.
As I said in the update a couple nights ago, that, and I didn't list all the talents that people got together for me from the applications.
Yeah.
So many talents. We could not mention them in one update. And so,
isn't that amazing? And I just want to take a minute here. We do have another special guest that wasn't planning on being on camera, and we just want him to come and say hi to everybody. And it's really neat to have Mo here. And Mo, why don't you step over for a minute? Mo did not know I was going to do this. It's about time that I put him under pressure in front of a camera and send him always doing it to Lynn and I.
Right.
So get over here and quit hiding in that tube. You won't fit anyway.
This is a future tree.
Come on over here, Mo. Come on, stand next to Lynn.
Okay.
This for all you out there that's heard the voice and heard the singing and seen him when we were doing the Give Men, I know you've seen him many, many times. Mo, it's really great to have you here. You're so awesome in your help.
Well, thank you. It's easy to do. It's good people and good bears. And the atmosphere around here with what's going on now, it's energizing. And people out there can be very proud of what they've done to help make this all come true.
That is true.
It's going to be exceptional. And look forward to see it when it's done.
So how did you feel when you first walked in this room today, when you first seen what was going on?
Well, I saw it before because we did a walkthrough video of it when it was just starting. And when I first got in here, I looked, and it looks so real, so natural. And that young lady over there doing the lichens on the tree, it's unbelievable. I don't know if the folks out there can see what it really looks like, but it looks so real, so unbelievable.
And I think that's that's very good words. I mean, it's how you should put it. When I walk in the mornings, like I said, I'm excited to get back here and take a look at it, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
You're excited, so.
And I gotta take more pictures, put more pictures and updates of this. And the people making it are taking a series of pictures as it develops.
Yeah, they've had so much going on with the trees and stuff, they've had to slow down a little bit on that. But I guess right now we want to button it up and just say thanks so much for all your help out there. Thanks so much for being part of this. And we'll try and get back to you here within the next couple of weeks. I would say we'll show you progress a little more often as it gets a little bit more interesting. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
I thought of one more.
Lynn thought of one more thing.
I'm sorry. And we probably won't be able to show it because the camera is under it. But Lily fans donated the most beautiful canoe that I have ever seen. Wouldn't you say that's for you too?
Yeah, I tried to talk Lynn into giving it to me, but he wouldn't.
No.
One thing I might mention, we're going to do a walkthrough and put it on YouTube right after this with you, Scott, and Dr. Rogers.
Yeah.
And we will make sure that we capture that canoe.
So it'll be on YouTube?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
2-3 days from now,
okay,
we'll let them digest this, what's happening right now, but we'll get that. So.
And I also want to put out there that if you've got any questions about anything that's going on that you've seen that you want to know about, feel free to email myself or Dr. Lynn Rogers, and hopefully we can answer that question. If we can't, we'll be more than happy and excited to figure out who can, correct?
And the email that you can it's easy to remember, info@bear.org.
info@bear.org. Out there for all you. And again, we want to say thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you all, and thanks for being live at the NABC and NEH. Have a great day. Thank you.